Welcome to Mobile Rolling. My name is Gary Crocker, and we're continuing on with replaying some of the episodes of the people, unfortunately, that have made this industry so great that we've lost over recent times. Today we'll be showing an interview with one of the greatest administrators, promoters, a man well ahead of his time in thinking how to promote and have the industry at its best, and that is well-known Kapunda Barossa identity in Bill Adams. Bill Adams was not only known in South Australia, he also went to Victoria where he was at the Kilmore Club. He certainly had the Kapunda Club up and running. I can remember in my day when you'd ring Bill up and say, "What's the weather like?" And he'd say, "Oh, I'm here, I've got my Speedos on." And you go down there and you'd freeze your toes off. So it is a great pleasure that I introduce these episodes of Bill Adams, a legend in harness racing, unfortunately who we lost in 2025. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, it's my pleasure to welcome to Mobile Rolling a man that is known Australia-wide, colourful personality, Kapunda stalwart, Bill Adams. Welcome to Mobile Rolling, Bill. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Gary.
That's good. Now, Bill, we'll start from the start because obviously people like to, they know Bill Adams, but they want to know how Bill Adams got to where he was, what he did, if he went to school, etc., etc. So, where were you born? Were you born in South Australia?
I was born at Nuruyupta.
Yep.
And moved to Kapunda in my very infant days.
Mm-hmm.
Went through school at Kapunda and left in 51.
So when you went to school, what did you get to? What would they call it? Matriculation in those days? Did you get there, or did you get out early?
I started when I was 4.5 years old. So when I did my leaving certificate, I was only 15 and a half, and joined the bank. So
you went to the bank. Which bank were you in?
I was with the National Bank, the NAB, and I did 23 years to the day. And at that point in time, Eli Hamber, the first secretary of Kapunda from 46 to 75, he spoke to me on many occasions. If ever you leave the bank, I want you to take over the Trotting Club of Kapunda.
So when you're in the bank, I was in the NAB for a short period of time, probably 20 years after you, but in those days, to get up the ladder, you had to wait for everyone on top of you to die. So I thought I'd better get out of here. So were you in the Kapunda branch all the time, or did you travel around the Barossa Valley, or what did you do?
I started in the city and travelled by train from Kapunda for the first year or so. And I became manager at Robertstown at the age of 30, which was unheard of in those days.
Exactly, I know what it's like, yeah. You had to be about 55 to even look like you.
Yes, that was how it was, and it was the best job I had in my life at Robertstown, in a drought, wonderful people, and I still got a lot of friends there, and I love the little place.
So you left the bank, at what age was it when you left the bank?
40.
40, so were you married then? Or?
Yes, I was married when I was 23, and I've got 3 sons, and they're very close to me, they are. The one's in Canberra, one's in Cairns, and one's in Jakarta. We've got a lovely family relationship. And
so that's how they got that TV series, My 3 Sons, did they, Bill? So Mr. Hamber asked you to be the secretary, or what were they called in those days? The
secretary in those days.
So, okay, so the Kapunda track as it is was still like that back then? With up the hill and down?
This is a very interesting story. The day I took over...
You remember the date?
I remember the date. Well, I certainly did. It was in April in 75. And next day's advertisers are big headlines. The Strathalbyn president, Jones, has asked the control board to get rid of Kapunda. The track is shockers and they sell out the facilities. And I must say today he was correct, but I wasn't prepared to admit it. So at any rate...
Well, you have, but
you wouldn't read about it. Today's movements in government and everything else, we knocked everything down at Kapunda straight away. had support from our bookmakers. There were 23 of them, and some funds from local people, and we rebuilt the place. And on the 9th of September, the same year, we opened up at Kapunda with this brand new facility.
So the facility that you're talking about, is that the facility that they've still got there now?
Yes.
So that's not their land, is it? It's council land, is it? Or?
It's council land, and they've got a good, decent sort of a lease and a wonderful cooperation with the council. And it really was a great effort to build something from the day I was appointed in April, the 9th of September. And a lot of people remember our sponsors, Ravelli Wines, Mick Darkey and Garnet Liebig. And we had an enormous crowd there.
So in those days there, did Kapunda have like a group of trainers that trained out of Kapunda?
Yes, we had quite a few in those days. Very few now use a track, but there were quite a few. And we had up to 23 meetings a year, and we had 23 bookmakers. And believe it or not, in the heyday, we were holding 300,000 a night.
I can remember when I lived in Pirian, we'd come down on I think it was a Tuesday night, and you always had busloads of people. I don't know how you got them, but I remember ringing you one day and I said, it's raining and cold here, Billy in Piri. What's it like down here? He said, it's beautiful. I'm just sitting out on the sun deck here in my Speedos having a quiet one. But no, come down, and we went down there. I reckon my toes nearly fell off. It was that cold. So you certainly knew how to sell the club, didn't you?
Yes, well, there's a story involved here, and as much that every time we had a meeting, of course, we had to relay the weather. And Ray Fewings...
It wasn't quite... It was like the weather forecast of today, Bill.
Yes.
They weren't quite right.
Ray Fewings used to say to me, now take the umbrella away and tell me what the weather's like.
Well, that's a good double. So you always had a lot of support from... you always had busloads of people there in, your cups and stuff like that. And that was probably one of the main reasons that you were successful, because you always had big crowds and good betting,
We had a lot of sponsors. A lot of the sponsors were pubs in those days, and they had their social clubs. And Merv King, my dear departed friend, he was very helpful in canvassing for sponsors.
So how long were you at Kapunda? Because you then sort of got headhunted and went over the border, didn't you?
That's correct.
What's the story behind that, and how did you go from being a life member of Kapunda the community to going interstate? What happened? How did that come about?
Frank Ryan from Echuca, he bought a horse over the Kapunda Cup, and he said to me, "Are you applying for the job at Kilmore?" And I hadn't even been aware of the fact that it was a
job available.
And I gave
that was the secretary manager, was it, sort of thing?
Yes, secretary manager, both the Trotting Club and the
Gallops as well.
Gallops as well, two different committees, but I was secretary manager of both.
Over the both.
And I was there from 86 to 89, and they had about 80 applicants for the job. But I had a bit of an advantage in as much as that the secretary had resigned about a fortnight before the Kilmore Cup, which was an enormous event in those days.
Exactly.
So I probably got the job because I was ready-made.
It was available,
yeah.
So can you remember who won those cups the year you were there?
Well, Vic Frost won one, and...
was that Westburn Grant, was it, or the other one?
No, the other one.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Knight won one. And,
Popular Arm, or?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
And
they were the days of. So when were they held? The Kilmore Cup?
October.
So they always had a stand and start 2-year-old on, didn't they?
That's correct. Yeah.
Which is now you're not allowed to race till February.
No, well, certainly things have changed, but I enjoyed Kilmore. I was able to get rid of half the staff, because when I first went there was more staff than there were customers.
Was there?
Yeah. And I struck the union problem for the first time in my life. At Kapunda we paid dear old pensions a few bob to do the gates.
And stuff like that.
Those days were over in Victoria, and the theatrical union were the people who controlled the industry. And I struck a lady from there who would have made a good fullback for Central Districts.
Oh, right.
Oh, she was tough. But anyway, they threatened to close the gates on our Cup Day. And we overcame that, and I got a very severe reprimand, but we still got rid of half the staff.
But they still knew how you operated. So that's called respect, I think. So you're there for 2 seasons or 3 seasons?
I was there for 3 cups.
And then what happened then? So you came, you'd had enough, or they'd had enough?
No,
or?
I tell you what happened. I worked very hard there and we were very successful. And I lived out 4 or 5 k's out of Kilmore, and my wife, we only had the 1 car. And I said, look, I'm not looking for a rise. I'd like you to hire, to lease a car so that I can leave my wife.
Yeah.
And they knocked it back.
Okay.
So I didn't show any angst. I just rang my mate at Kapunda and I said, how do you become a real estate agent? And he said, you've got to do 6 months correspondence. So I did that. And when I got my certificate in 6 months, I left Kilmore on good terms and went to Kapunda, and I was in real estate for 11 years. It's a long time, 11 years, not to tell a fib.
Well, I've still got a real estate agent's licence, and I always thought that the public were the ones that told the fibs, because you know, they could tell you that it had been white hand treated and you wouldn't know, you know. But anyway, so yeah, I had a Rain and Horn or Western Properties up in Perry for nearly 10 years before I came to Adelaide. So I liked it. I just looked upon it as you're basically a tour guide, really. You can't tell people to buy a house. You show them a house. If they want to buy it, they buy it. If they don't, they don't.
I enjoyed it very much. And I was
so who did you work for? Your elders or something, did you?
No, I had Eli Hamber was the agent. His son Mark was the boss in those days. Yeah. And I enjoyed that very much.
Did you, when you came back, when did you come back? It was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I went from 86 to 89 in Kilmore. Yeah.
So when you came back, did you selling real estate properties? Did you also go back to the job in the secretary, or that?
Oh yes, I was president probably when I came back. As soon as I got back, there was a.
So who did the job at Kapunda when you were gone?
Merv Rodder.
Oh, Merv from over the West Coast.
Yeah, and so anyway.
So how many years? When did you finally finish up at Kapunda at the Trots?
2001.
2001.
Yes.
Now, we say how. And Kapunda, even though it had a lot of things that weren't in its favour, the track especially, I can remember we sold a horse to a friend of mine, Colin Brown, called Gamby Pride, and I said to Colin, this thing's a special, and it was in the heat of the 3-year-old, well, Southern Cross as they call it now, and I said, so we went to Kapunda, and he said, I said, don't get lost coming off the back there. You go there. Anyway, he ran 3rd, but he won the final at Globe Derby the following week or whatever. Yeah. So So when you finished, you raced a few horses in your time. Not a lot, but you had a bit of an interest.
Yes, I had a lot of horses. I bred a lot of horses. I had them on my farm.
So you had a property, did you? How many acres?
500.
500.
And my wife is very worried about me having more horses than sheep.
Yeah, well. Anyway, so Bill, you finished in 2001 at the club, and had been very, very, very successful in promoting it, as you said, with social clubs and stuff like that. But even though you were successful raising money with bingo and whatever else that you used to be able to get funds from, sponsorship especially, it wasn't all beer and skittles behind the scenes, because Kapunda, as you said, originally had 23 meetings a year, and they were getting dwindled away. I believe that was many times, you can probably tell the story, that they wanted to actually close the club down. So what was how many times did it happen, and what was their theory behind it, and how did you overcome the fact that they wanted to get rid of you?
Well, it was on 5 occasions that they tried to close us down. As I said, from day one, Clem Jones, or whatever his Christian name was, from Strathalbyn.
So just on, when you say they try to close you down, so the board in those days would have been made up of a country club rep, and I don't know how they picked the board in those days.
Yeah, fair enough.
So was it heavily more directed to the city club, or why would you want to get rid of? I mean, in this day and age, it's been proven with all the clubs that are gone, Kadina, Whyalla, Port Augusta, Murray Bridge, you go through them all, that if we had those today, that's a lot more people would have a horse. So where was the pressure coming from for the Kapunda to be closed?
Well, mainly because of perceived and actual track problems and lighting problems as well. In those days we were lit, and that was their main concerns.
Just lit was the word we're looking for, Bill.
Then Botcha decided to have a go. They reckon we were too far out of Adelaide. And if they ever went to Kilmore like I did and saw how far people travel over there.
Port Pirie a little bit far out of Adelaide, and it's got a great facility.
That's
great
correct.
Following.
And on another occasion, when McEwen came to South Australia, he was adamant that we get rid of Kapunda. It's not up to our standards. So what I did, I went to see the Ombudsman, and I told him about our problems, and we produced figures. Our figures were far and better than any other club in South Australia. So the Ombudsman said, well, why do you want to close the club down like that? And the issue was defeated. And McEwen said to me one day, when are you going to get that fella off my back? And that was the Ombudsman. I said, when I get my own way. And he said, I thought so.
So you're pretty determined.
Well, you had to be in those days. It's people were attacking from all quarters. And we got the crowds there, probably as good as anyone else. And, you know, part of the crowd is interesting, Gary, that you said from Pirie used to go to Kapunda. All the committees, and there were a lot of them in those days, they all came to Kapunda. We as a committee went to every meeting as well. And that probably put 100 people in the crowd.
And they had the best food there too, but we won't go
Yes,
there.
oh yeah, good.
So let's look on, that's the administration, which was your strong point.
Right.
Now, you raced a few horses, right?
Yes.
Now, I know the last one you raced, because that was with Marcus Hurl,
Yes,
correct?
my good friend.
Yeah, before that, those that know you know Marcus, all right? So everybody knows. So those horses before, like you've always, we've always had an interest. I can remember my first horse, and I can remember my last horse, right? So I can remember. So who did you have horses with?
Yeah, right.
Who was your trainers?
My first trainer was Bobby Jackson, a very good friend of mine, the best Kapunda driver ever, in my opinion. And I had him with Butterworth, Tom, and then his son. And I had him with Graham Johannesson.
Yeah, in Melbourne.
Alan
And when he
Smith.
come here?
Alan Smith was with me
David's
for quite a
father,
while.
yeah.
And Marcus Hell. He got me really, really involved in the first place.
So what's the best one you had?
We'll probably Reviver time. And
So that was about what, 10 years ago?
yeah, it's probably 10. Well,
10.
Marcus will be able to tell us that. But anyway,
when I catch up with Marcus one day, I'll ask him.
Yeah, may I say this particular horse we're talking about, Reviver Time, Kapunda decided as a fundraiser to have a horse sale. And my wife and Marcus's wife said, don't you buy a horse or else, because we had a lot of horses. The first horse came in the ring and it wasn't well dressed.
You both got a bit of deafness, so I'd pray you both probably didn't hear it.
Yeah, Benghazi Hanover, and he said the breeding's good, and they couldn't find a bid. So up goes Marcus's hand, $400. So we were pretty smart, I was pretty smart. I said, righto, we put this in the girl's name. So when we went home, you didn't buy a horse? No, but you did. Well, they weren't very happy.
You and Marcus moved in together, didn't
We
you?
weren't very happy. But anyway, the fact was this, that the horse went on and won probably a dozen races, made a lot of money.
And
the girls got the checks and I got the bills.
That's how you got your name,
So
Bill.
women are smarter than men.
So, just a couple of quick ones. The game, we'll call it the game, the industry, the sport, whatever. A man with your passion would be sitting back now going, what's happening? So, why did it happen? I mean, yeah, I've got theories on it, but why to see what's happening now? Kapunda, they didn't close it, but they let them have one meeting a year, which is just the same as saying it's just about closed, because you still got upkeep and look after it. So, why do you think we're in the position we are now?
Well, when TAB came in, they took control. We used to frame our meetings to suit our income,
and the horses
make
and
sure
the
people were there
crowds.
for a meal. But then when they took over, well, they said, you'll race on a certain day on a certain time, and this is the order.
Well,
and that took a lot of pleasure out of it.
That's now being exacerbated by the fact that Sky Channel if the TAB control it, Sky Channel now control TAB, or vice versa. They're embedded the same people basically. So just in closing, you've probably seen some great horses. What's the best horses you've seen race in your time of following the game? I mean, that's a pretty broad question.
I'd say
they're everywhere.
Paleface out of York.
Paleface, and he won a lot of races.
Yeah, and we've been very good friends of the people that own that horse, and he was a champion.
He was a champion.
Yeah.
What about drivers and trainers in South Australia? Because it's a bit like the gallops. All the good trainers, like your Hawkses and your Cumminses, they all lived in South Australia. So, who do you think are the best trainers and drivers that you've seen, like in this state?
If I had a horse today, I'd give it to David Smith. And if I was in Victoria in the heydays, Brian Gaff was the coolest driver I've ever seen.
Brian's still driving.
He's still driving.
He's still coming out on the corners.
He must be as old as I am, but anyway.
I think he's about 80. Is he 81? So what are you, Bill? You're 88, are you?
I'm only 88.
That's a lucky number for the casino.
It is good, yeah. I've only got 12 years to go. Yeah.
And then you get a letter from the King. The Queen, she said enough. Look, is there anything you want to say in closing? Because I'm sure everybody's that knows your face and has been to Kapunda and knows how well it was run.
Yes,
and,
I like to say this. I loved the game. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been. I sacrificed a lot to be in the game, and I loved it. I love to see it on better footing in South Australia, and I certainly dearly hope that something can be done. I wish I was 68.
Yeah, well, I am, so...
Yeah, I suppose everybody else does too, but... Yeah.
All right, well, look, thanks for spending some time with us, Bill, and all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.